opposites, inverse, or inside out? Well, hello everybody, this is Dave from utom.org, that's utom.org, Universal Truth of Mankind. Now, real quick, I've started, I know I have my videos on YouTube, but I created a channel on YouTube called utom, U-T-O-M. You do a search and it'll pop up. So I'm not going to be using my other, I'm going to be using that now because I have other uses for the other account. So I'm going to be doing everything through channels now. So you can do a search for utom channel, it'll pop up, and please subscribe, share. Okay, so I've been thinking about this one for a while because it gives you greater context of understanding your relationship with the Creator. And these little things, I believe, help us to better ascertain how we are to pursue the Creator. And, I already talked about desire. I beat that one to death, and I probably will in the future as well. But really, when you get down to it, it's only desire we have to get the ball rolling. But then what do we do after that ball's rolling? Where do we go? What do we do? And, we live in a world of opposites and inverses. But in reality, we're a world of inside-outs. We are a world that is more interested in what's on the outside than what's in the inside. Now, to give you kind of an example of this, within the Jewish community, there's something called beshert. Beshert is a soulmate. My wife, I met in high school. We are still high school sweethearts 30 years later. Actually, it's 38 years later because we didn't get married for 8 years because of college, schooling, and other things. But as soon as she graduated college, the very next day we were married. The evening before that, or the evening of her graduation, we did a rehearsal dinner. All right, so that's how fast she worked. I tell you. They say there's no fury like a woman's scorn. Well, I tell you, when a woman has a drive, stay out of the way. I knew her for a few years, 2 years actually, before I fell in love with her. One day I looked into her eyes, and I saw her soul, and I was just head over heels. I said to myself, she's the one. No ifs, ands, or buts about, she's the one. And I tell you, I had nothing but eyes for her. Wherever she was, that's where I looked. Just like my dog, wherever I am, where are you? I was there. Because when I looked into her eyes, the window to her soul, I saw what was within her. Not what was without her. Don't get me wrong, she was beautiful. She still is beautiful. But it was who she was inside that grabbed my attention. Now, when we were told in Genesis 1 that we are we were what was I saying? We hold on, sorry, I had to backtrack a little bit. When we were told that we were created an image of man, man was created an image of God. What does that mean? How come I don't see God in me? How come I don't see God in other people? Because I'm not looking at their soul. I'm not looking within them. See, when we talk about like the tree of good and evil, we think of opposites. Good, evil. The devil, this is my left shoulder, and my right shoulder, the angel. Think of opposites. Or we think of up and downs. We think of inverses. Gold, inverse, blue. Blue, inverse, gold. But that's not the way we should be thinking. We shouldn't be interested in what's out here. I'm going to tell you, I met a lot of women who has maybe scars on their faces, They're not particularly well proportioned. Maybe they have a little weight problem. Maybe they have not enough weight. Maybe their teeth aren't straight. And this is all vanity stuff that women love. They are always conscious of their imperfections from a physical standpoint. But usually, those people, because they're very humble, are the most beautiful people you could possibly meet. And men too, the same thing. Once we strip away the vanity. So, let's see. Do you ever have a conversation with yourself? Well, who you're talking? I mean, and you have this conversation not necessarily out loud, but within your own mind. Well, who are you talking to? Are you schizophrenic, or are you talking to a higher part of yourself? We have to go within to go up. Abraham, in Genesis 12, verse 1, there's two words. They're repeated. Lech, leka, lech, lech, okay? They're repeated. And a lot of times it's translated as leave your kinsmen and go into the wilderness. In other words, I'm going to show you the land I'm going to show you. But in reality, what it's saying is, forget this external stuff and turn inside, because that's where you're going to find me, meaning God's going to. That's where you find me. I'm within you. You're outside of me, but you're within. Inside is where you will find me. That's why the Israelites had to go to the wilderness also. That's why they stayed extra time in the wilderness. That the generation had to die off. Why? Because they were weak-minded. They were very weak. They had a very weak relationship with the Creator. Remember what it said in chapter 20, verse 18 of Exodus. Moses was told, or the following verses, Moses was told by the people, we can't take God's voice. You tell us what he says and we'll do it. Already, that generation was trying to keep itself away from the Creator. So they weren't willing to turn in themselves. They only wanted from the outside via the ear through Moses, rather than from the inside out. They wanted everything from what they thought was good outside in. You see how it works now? You see the dangers of the one way, but the see. So this is why man is so such a wonderful creation. Is because who man really is who he's in the inside. Let me explain it this way. You ever wear a latex glove and you try pulling it off? You try to pull it with your fingers. It's easier to just simply take the glove and pull it off. And what happens? Now it's inside out. So when we read Genesis 1, 2, and 3, creating the image of God, and then breathe the breath of life in chapter 2, and then in chapter 3, it talks about putting flesh onto man. It's the inside out that's occurring at that point, where the essence of man is inside, not on the outside. In the spiritual realm, the essence is the spiritual realm. It's right. It's there. It's not covered. It's not protected. It's not hidden. But when you turn that glove inside out, it's inside out. So you can say, like the glove, the 5 fingers, the image of man, of God, so to speak, going inside out, and now that image is within that glove. I realize we're talking about 7, and I already talked about that many times. Please feel free to go back to episode 22 and go forward from there to this point, and you'll get more filler information. So think of a glove. So let's just go. I actually covered everything that I wanted to cover, but think inside out, not inverse or opposites. Good and evil, don't. Because the word tov, which is good, and the word evil, which is ra, good means essence. Ra means eyes, reasoning with the eyes, reasoning by what you see. But when I plugged into my not girlfriend at the moment, saw the soul that was within her, I fell in love. I knew she was the one. I started courting her immediately. I wanted no one else to get her because I knew she was the one. And 8 years later, we got married, and it's 30 years since then. Anniversary, 30 years we've been together, 30 plus years. And I wouldn't change a thing. So think of things that way when you think of a relationship. Think of turning within yourself, because that's where you're going to find them. And change yourself from the inside out, not the outside in. Okay, everybody, you take care, be safe, and have a great weekend.